Okay, so I'm going to do this video talking about this Looper 140 outboard, Johnson 1988. This thing is scrambling my brain. I don't know what's going on with this thing. I've got an outboard mechanic coming out to look at this thing. I am not an outboard mechanic. I know very little about these things. You know, I'm a full-blown mechanic, but this thing's got me stumped, man. I'll tell you what I've done to it. I put a new power pack, brand new power pack, goes up here. Made sure it was the right part number, 584041 for this model number engine. Replaced the head gaskets, new spark plugs, new spark plug wires. Ohmed all of the coil packs. This coil pack ohmed bad. I replaced this coil pack. New diaphragm in the fuel pump. New fuel line from the fuel pump to the gas tank. New gas tank, 27-gallon gas tank, brand new. I rebuilt the starter, put a new starter solenoid on it. I checked all the wires, made sure all the grounds were like they're supposed to be. Checked the stator. I checked the stator magnets, made sure they were clean, free of rust. New carburetors. Made sure that the carburetor jets were the term escapes me. Anyway, I made sure that the orifices in the jets were all the same size. Indexed the jets and the carburetors, made sure they were what they were supposed to be for this application. 54 on the top, 41 on the bottom. What else? The only thing I have not done a compression test. Compression test is 100 pounds in every cylinder after it's warmed up. That's a little low, but it's not enough to cause a problem that I'm having here. What's going on with this thing is once it starts up and starts to idle and run, it runs erratically. It's getting good fire. Check the fire with two different types of checking devices. One's the spark gap jumping indexer, the index the spark, and also the ones that light up. You can have this thing running and have those on. Those things got great fire. It's not missing. Before I replaced the power pack, this thing would miss out. You could sit here and watch the spark miss. It'd be firing and it'd stop, and then it'd be firing and it'd stop, and then it'd do it on this one down here, and then it was back and forth and all over. So I knew the power pack was bad and needed to be replaced. That didn't fix the issue that I'm having here. Made it run better, but still not fixing the issue. The problem I'm having with this thing is after this thing starts up and I get it to idle around 1,000 RPM, 800, 1,000 RPM, I can pull this bank of spark plug wires off, and it makes absolutely no difference in how this thing runs. I understand this is a Looper. This is a Looper engine, which Looper is indicative towards how this thing, how the air and fuel is inducted. Okay, I understand that, but I don't understand how this thing could be, the air could be, the carburetors or what, after they've been indexed and new and everything, is causing a problem there. I just don't understand that. So hopefully I can get this tech out here and he can look at it. I talked to him, explained to him everything I've done to it, and he seems to think it's carburation. Also the seals, the crank seal on this thing, I have not checked, done a leak down on the crankcase, because I don't have a leak down. I don't have a leak down checker, so it's not something I ever invested in. But so he's going to check that, which he said that's probably not the problem, because it's not going to cause the issue that I'm having. He's thinking that it's a carburation issue. So I hope he's right. He's also talking about this. You can see right down here. You can see this little valve right here. Okay. I did not replace that. I took it apart and cleaned it and put it back together, but I did not replace that. And he says those things are notorious for causing problems like this. So we're going to see. I'm not going to do anything else to it until he comes out here. It's been rained all week. I talked to him Monday, and it has literally rained every day, all day. As you can see, it's just been raining on us non-stop. So it's kind of hard to work on these things in the rain. I wouldn't ask anybody to do that anyway. So one more issue that I'm having with this thing, and if anybody has any ideas that can direct me in a direction that I haven't already gone, please feel free to leave a link or leave a comment, and if YouTube decides to give me my comments, then I'll I'll look at it. That rarely happens, but they don't like my politics. So anyway, so that's where I'm at with this boat, man. I was hoping I would have already had this thing in the water by now, but the issue with carburation or whatever it is, I'm well within the compression limit. It's 15 pounds per cylinder difference, and I'm well within that range. They are a little bit low, 100, 105, 110, but still, that's, it should be around 120 when they're new. But hey, that's not enough to cause the problem that I'm having here. A problem with the issue that I'm having. Could be a broken wire, which doesn't make any sense, because I can sit right here while this thing is running and watch the fire, watch this thing just blazing away into that spark plug. The spark plugs are new. They've been, they also are indexed, and so I'm really at my wit's end here, guys. I don't know, unfortunately, enough about these things to really do a proper diagnosis. I just don't know. So it's really disappointing. I've spent a lot of time, as you know, you can look at my first video on this boat. It was 2 years ago, and I did do the compression tests on these things when I first got it. I've never ran this engine. My buddy told me, you need to make sure that engine runs before you do anything else. And I'm like, well, if it's got good compression and it's got good fire, then, if it doesn't, if it's easy to turn over and the lower unit turns out good, I'm going to check all of that first. I'm going to check out the compression and the fire, and I'm going to check everything, and then I'm going to start on the hull. And so that's how I approached this this build here. And now I just don't know what else to check here. If it was a broken wire, fine, but that would be indicated by a loss of fire, right? Right. So I would be able to see this thing missing out with those fire electrodes that I put in between the spark plug and the spark plug wire. You would see it, and this thing is firing perfectly. So I am leaning towards carburation, although these carburetors are new. They've been indexed. Another possibility is this part that he said these things were notorious about causing problems like this. I did not replace that. He said it's relatively cheap. So I don't know, guys. I'm crossing my fingers. Another problem I didn't say that I was going to tell you, but another problem that I'm having with this thing is now that I've replaced the power pack, it won't shut off. The key will not shut off the engine. So there's a problem there. I'm not sure exactly what it is. Maybe a problem, I don't know. I can't find the diagram online for this thing. Was it marineengines.com has one, but they're like $45, and it's going to cost me $100 to get that tech out here to diagnose this thing. He's a friend of my son's, my stepson's, and I talked to him again. I talked to him Monday, and he was supposed to get here this week, but again, it's rained every day. But I was hoping to get this damn thing in the water before my buddy from California came down, and it's looking as though that's not going to happen. So if anybody has any ideas, the only test that I have not run on this thing is the crankcase leak down. But again, that would not cause only one bank of cylinders to not hit. It's firing, it's just not hitting. It's like it's not getting any fuel. But if you pull the spark plug out, it's got fuel on it. So, wet spark plug. So, I don't know, man. If I got to pull the power head off this thing and rebuild this engine, I will. It's not that big a deal. But I need to find out exactly what's causing this issue. If someone's had this issue before, or, I just don't know. I've done everything that I know how to do to this thing. And now I'm stuck. So, there's really no way to do a pressure test for fuel, because it's a diaphragm in here. There's no way to hook up. I guess maybe you might be able to hook some. This is the outlet up here. I've made sure that all of these connections right here, all these little hose clamps, I've made sure that all of those things are as tight as they can be from from right here all the way up to the gas tank. And the gas tank and the gas lines actually is metal from right here. It goes in right here, and then it connects right here to the reserve. To the reserve, and you got, of course, you've got some connections right here, hose clamps, but from there it's metal. You can see it right here. There's the zinc oxide line right there. That's metal, and it runs all the way to the gas tank. So I just don't know, man. It's very it's disconcerting. These sensors right here, $197 a piece, man, for these stupid ass freaking. This one of these is this one right here is a rev limiter and a temperature limiter. Okay, that one on. That's why this one has 2 wires, and this one over here only has 1 wire because it's a limit switch too. So it just shuts the ignition off if this thing gets too hot. But I was going to replace these things, and I know on Toyotas, man, if the temperature sensor is bad on a Toyota, a lot of times it won't even start. And then if it does start, it just runs like shit, man. It just runs terrible. But again, this thing is not computer controlled, so it does have an analog electronic ignition system on it. But I just don't know, man. I'm literally scratching my head on this one. All the coils ohmed out good. The spark plugs are new. The spark plug wires are new. It's got good compression. The carburetors are new. The damn fuel pump is new. New gas tank. New fuel lines. New power pack. Stator's good. Help! Somebody help me. I don't know, man. He did talk about this looper. I told him that this looper carburetor system on this thing does not have any adjustments. There's no idle air control adjustment for these carburetors, and he said there was. I wasn't going to argue with him, but I've had these carburetors off of enough to know that there's no idle air adjustment for these carburetors. It's done through an orifice, an air orifice. And that's why it's important to index the carburetors on these things to make sure that it's getting the right amount of airflow. So I took the model number and I made sure what the jets were supposed to be, and I indexed every jet on this engine. And that simply means to make sure and verify that the jet holes are at 54 and at 41. So that's what I did, and man, it's just I don't know what else to do, man. He was talking about a air adjustment on the vacuum plate itself, which the only adjustment this thing has is right here, okay? And this is a butterfly adjustment. That's what this is. You know, this operates. Where's it at I can't find my hand. Okay. Oh, here it is. Hard to see the view screen. So this just operates the butterflies, right? And this is the only other adjustment that there is on this carburetor. That's it. That's the only adjustment that there is, other than throttle adjustment, which is on this side, which is down here. Here's your throttle adjustment. Here's your timing adjustment, and shit, man, I don't know. I'm truly at a loss with this thing. It's going to get fixed one way or the other. It's going to get fixed. I don't care if I got to pull the engine off of it. I was concerned about one bolt in this thing. I had the power head off this thing. I had the skirt off this thing, and I noticed one bolt that I think they're all stainless, but that one looked like it was corroded. So I don't know. I guess stainless will corrode over a period of time, maybe something. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know, guys. I just don't know. If somebody has an answer or something that can lead me in another direction that I haven't already gone, please feel free to chime in. That's all I got, guys. Talk to you later. I'll let you know if I get this thing ever running right. I'm going to eventually. The cylinders were not scored in any way. You can look at my videos back 2 years ago and see where I inspected this engine and put head gaskets on it and torqued them down like they're supposed to be, and I don't know. I just don't know, man. I'm at my wit's end.